ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातां सहगण रघुनाथामितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखामितांश नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनीति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदेवता। Hare Krishna, welcome you all for this morning's Bhagavatam class. So today we are going to discuss a topic from Canto 1, Chapter 7. This is shloka number 42 onwards till 58. That's the section we're going to discuss today. So this is regarding, the theme today is how to harmonize between contradictory situations or conflicting situations, right? That's the theme. Let me see if I can open the Veda base. So this, by the time the website opens, basically this theme is regarding the punishment of Ashwatthama, right? So we all know the pastime, but what can we learn from this is what we're going to look at. And this is going to primarily talk about 4 or 5 different topics. The theme is going to be, how do you harmonize between contradictory situations or conflicting situations. But there will be 4 or 5 topics which we'll be focusing on. One is the qualities of Draupadi. Second will be how Arjuna was put into test by Krishna. Third will be how did Arjuna succeed in managing a contradicting situation or a conflicting situation, dharma sankat, what we call it in Sanskrit, right? And then we'll talk about what are the different types of dharma sankat a devotee could get into, right? And then we'll talk about how the punishment which is given to somebody, right? No, in general, punishment is the word used, but when we deal with somebody, if we deal in such a way that it's kind of punishment, then how do you harmonize between the punishment, right? That's what we'll talk about. So those are the 5 topics we'll be focusing on, right? Now devotees can come closer to the laptop as much as possible because it's going to be an interactive session. It is not that I'm the only one who's going to speak. So as much as you can, so that if you have a mic, then it's okay. But and the others on the line can also switch on their videos. It will be very easy for me to interact with them, right? So please repeat after me. Tatartam Pashu. Are you able to see the screen or not yet? Can you see my screen?
No, bro.
Not yet. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, so this is Canto 1, Chapter 7, 42nd shloka. Tatahartam Pashubat Pashabaddham
Tathartam Pashubadham
Avan Mukham Karma Jugupsitena
Avan Mukham Karma Jugshena
Niriksha Krishna Pratam Guru Sutam
Niriksha Krishna Pratam Guru Sudam
Vama Swabhava Kripayan Namacha.
Vama Swabhava Kripayana Namacha.
Somebody can read the word-to-word translation?
Shall I wait for repeating?
Yes. You can just read. No need to repeat.
Putra, son. Shoka.
You are in which shloka? This is the 42nd.
42nd. Okay.
42.
Tatha, thus. Artham, broaden. Pashuvat, like an animal. Pashabaddham, tied with ropes. Avak mukham, without a word in his mouth. Karma, activities. Jugupsitena, being heinous. Nirikshaya, by seeing. Krishna, Draupadi. Apakritam, the doer of the degrading. Guru, the teacher. Sutam, son. Vama, beautiful. Swabhava, nature, Kripaya, out of compassion, Nanam, offered obeisances, Cha, and.
Yeah, you can read the translation as well.
Translation. Sri Sutta Goswami said, Draupadi then saw Ashwathama, who was bound with ropes like an animal and silent for having enacted the most inglorious murder. Due to her female nature and due to her being naturally good and well behaved, she showed him due respect as a Brahmana.
Yeah, you can read the purport as well.
Ashwathama was condemned by the Lord himself, and he was treated by Arjuna just like a culprit, not like the son of a Brahmana or teacher. But when he was brought before Srimati Draupadi, she, although begged for the murder of her sons, although the murderer was present before her, could not withdraw the due respect generally offered to a Brahmana or to the son of Brahmana. This is due to her mild nature as a woman. Women as a class are no better than boys, and therefore they have no discriminatory power like that of a man. Ashwathama proved himself to be an unworthy son of Dronacharya or of a Brahmana, and for this reason he was condemned by the greatest authority Lord Sri Krishna. And yet a mild woman could not withdraw her natural courtesy for a Brahmana. Even to date, in a Hindu family, a woman shows proper respect to the Brahman caste, however fallen and heinous a Brahman Bandhu may be. But the men have begun to protest against Brahma Bandhus who are born in families of good Brahmana but by action are less than Shudras. The specific word used in the shloka is Vama Swabhava, mild and gentle by nature. A good man or woman accepts anything very easily, but a man of average intelligence does not do so. But anyway, we should not give up our reason and discriminatory power just to be gentle. One must have good discriminatory power to judge a thing on its merit. We should not follow the mild nature of a woman and thereby accept that which is not genuine. Ashwatthama may be respected by a good natured woman, but that does not mean that he is as good as a genuine Brahmana.
Yes, thank you. So this section pastime you already know, so we are not going to go into details, but I'll just give a quick background of the pastime. So in this pastime, Ashwathama has killed the 5 sons of Arjun and Draupadi, and Draupadi is very, very bereaved. And then Arjuna goes after Ashwathama and he catches him and brings him to Draupadi so that she could punish him. Earlier he had said that I will kill him and then I'll bring him so that I can wash your hairs with his blood. But then he couldn't do that. So he just brought him back. And while he was coming in the chariot, Krishna is driving the chariot and Arjuna is sitting at the back holding Ashwathama. And Krishna is nudging Arjuna. Hey Arjuna, why are you waiting? What are you waiting for? Why don't you kill Ashwathama? And he's nudging him. And Arjuna is in two minds. Should I kill him or not kill him? Because although initially he thought I'll go and kill him, he couldn't actually build the courage to kill him. So anyways, when they both come to the camp, Draupadi sees Ashwathama, and in this shloka you can see that Draupadi is seeing Ashwathama bound, and then she couldn't handle it. She started, talking to Arjuna and kind of chastising Arjuna. Why have you bound him? Now, the same lady who had asked him, in fact, actually Draupadi actually did not ask Arjuna to bring Ashwathama. She was just crying. And Arjuna just told her and, he went. Now, this is the same lady who was, when tried to be disrobed in the assembly, she had taken a vow that I will not, tie my hairs until and unless these Kauravas are actually killed. The same lady, you can see what is the transformation which is happening. And now she is saying that actually you should not kill Ashwathama, right? Now Ashwathama is not an ordinary person. If you look at the background of Ashwathama, he actually comes from the portion of Lord Shiva. Some portion of Lord Shiva, some portion of Lord of Death, which was Yamaraj. Not exactly Yamaraj, but there's a separate entity called as Lord of Death. If you look at Bhagavatam section and the creation section, you'll see that. And then he's also part of personified lust and anger. He's a combination of all of these. Right? And that's why one of his Ishta Devatas, Ashwathama, is Lord Shiva. So he's not an ordinary person, right? And now Krishna was actually testing Arjuna to see what he's going to do. So Krishna is putting Arjun in a situation of contradictions, conflict, right? And all of you know what is the conflict. Now, in this shloka, one very significant word which is coming is Vama Swabhava. Vama Swabhava means gentle nature. Now, Draupadi, the same lady, when she was disrobed, she was very, very aggressive and she was thinking these Kauravas should be killed. But now she is transformed and she is showing her gentle nature. Right? That is what the transformation you can see here. And this is actually bringing the good qualities of Draupadi. You can see, actually, Prabhupada says here that women have a nature like a small children. Right? They are very, very gentle. If you chastise a small child or if you do something bad to him, the next day he'll still be good to you, right? Because they are forgiving in nature, right? Generally, children are very forgiving in nature. There are some, Hiranyakashipus there, but generally most of them are, very forgiving in nature. But so Prabhupada is saying, she was of very warm swabha, and women generally actually immediately forgive, right? That is one thing. Or they are very respectable to Brahmanas. Prabhupada talks about it here. But at the same time, Prabhupada says that we should use our discriminatory power whenever it is required, right? And later he says in the next purport, in the 43rd purport, that Draupadi was not following the Shastras, but she was following the custom at that point of time because she was respecting Brahmanas, right? So actually, in one sense, it seems contradictory. Prabhupada is saying, hey, Draupadi was, less intelligent because she couldn't discriminate. And the next line, Prabhupada says, we should be discriminating. So why is there contradiction? It seems like contradiction, but there's no contradiction. Prabhupada is talking about two different viewpoints. One, he is saying Draupadi was great because she had, great devotional qualities. Second, he is saying we should not just imitate Draupadi. We should also have the discrimination to find out what is correct and what is not correct, right? At the same time, we should also develop devotional qualities so that we can reach that level, because it's not easy to forgive something like that. Imagine somebody's one mother's 5 sons are killed and you are forgiving that fellow. That's the devotional quality of Draupadi which Prabhupada is trying to bring out. At the same time, he is saying we should not lose our discriminatory power. One example I can give is one time one devotee in New York, he left the ashram and he what is called is basically he left the Krishna consciousness, and a couple of years later he came back. And then everybody was really happy. Hey, this devotee has come back. And they wrote to Srila Prabhupada that he's come back and he wants to serve. So everybody is expecting that Srila Prabhupada is immediately, consent and said, yeah, please, allow him to stay. The Srila Prabhupada wrote a letter saying, if you agree to follow the instructions and regulations, rules and regulations, then only you can serve. Otherwise, you cannot serve. So Prabhupada actually wanted in his heart that he come back. But he knew the independent mentality of this devotee. So he said, only if you follow the instructions and the rules and regulations, you can stay. This is called discriminatory power. Prabhupada is not only becoming emotional. You have come after so long and you leave Krishna consciousness. You have left Krishna. He is not only becoming emotional. Here, this example, really gives the mood of Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada wants to be, merciful to everybody. But then he knows the independent mentality and he knows if he allows this person to stay, it will affect others as well. Others will say, he is not following the instructions and he's still allowed to stay. Why am I following the instructions? I'll also do like that. So that is the difference between becoming emotional like Draupadi or becoming merciful like Draupadi, and on the other side, not losing our discriminatory power. And in many, many times he's been said, once Tamal Maharaj asked, if somebody falls down, then how long can you forgive him? He said, keep on forgiving, but there should be some limit. Prabhupada says there's no limit. I will continue forgiving. So he forgave that person who left the ashram, but he did not compromise in the rules and regulations. That is the message which this is following. So that's why when you see there is contradictory messages, you should understand that it is the context and the view which Prabhupada is trying to bring and not really contradictory, right? So Prabhupada says here in this purport, in the next purport, a devotee can tolerate all sorts of tribulations personally, but he doesn't become unkind to others. Even you can see in Draupadi here. Draupadi is tolerating everything for Krishna, but she is not becoming unkind. She's not saying Ashwatthama Maradava, right? That's why Prabhupada brings out very important points in these two purports, right? Now let's look at the reasons why Draupadi actually didn't allow Ashwatthama to be killed. Now, can somebody throw some light? Why is she forgiving Ashwatthama? What could be the reasons? Yes, Arpit Prabhu. That's Arpit Prabhu, right?
Ashwadhama is a son of a Brahmana.
Yes, that's correct. That's one point. Now somebody else can answer. So he was a son of Brahmana, and she respected Brahminical class. That's why she this thing forgave. What else? Yes, bro.
Uh,
Yeah.
Proji, another one important reason that she is empathizing with the situation of Kaurava's mother name.
Kripi.
Huh?
Kripi.
Kriti.
Kripi.
Kripi.
Yeah,
Kripi.
Kripi.
How she must have felt of, how she will feel when her
Yes.
son will die. So.
Yes, very good. Yashwant Prabhu has raised his hand. Yashwant Prabhu.
Yes, for the same reason I was going to.
Same reason. Okay. So yeah, two reasons we got so much. He was the son of a Brahmana. Second, she was feeling the pain of Kripi. That's why she didn't want to, cause pain. Yeah. What else? Anything else? Yes, Mohan Sagapu. I can't hear him.
One of the gurus of the Pandavas and his Kauravas.
Right. So he was the son of the Dronacharya. She was the son of the Guru. So Guru's son is as good as Guru. So she said, how can you kill him? And that's another reason. Yeah, very good. Third, what else? Anything else? So there are 6 reasons. And we have got only 3.
Praji, it's like woman's nature to forgive, as you told.
Okay. So woman's nature to forgive. So let's combine that with woman's nature to forgive, devotional qualities, like that, right? So that's the 4th one, right? Then she also thought about the piety. She's saying this is irreligion. Killing a Brahmana is an irreligion, like which Arpit Prabhu, kind of covered that, right? But it's another reason, right? Then reason and justice. She's actually saying that this is not justifiable that we kill a Brahmana. There are multiple aspects. So she's talking about, killing the son of a Brahmana, killing the Guru's son. This is not, justice for them. That's what she's saying. Then kindness and humanity. She's bringing an aspect of kindness and humanity, which, actually intersects with the point which Sushmit Prabhu talked about, although I cannot see him, but I know it's Sushmit Prabhu. It is the merciful nature of a woman, right? Like that. Now, not everybody is merciful, even if she is a woman, right? There are so many. Putana was not merciful anyways. There are so many women who are not merciful nowadays when they, actually abort their children. But in general, that's the merciful nature of woman, which brings out, right? Then equality, which we talked about. I think Aditya Prabhu talked about it. So now, these are the 6 reasons why Draupadi is basically saying that we should not kill, right? Now, another aspect which has to be understood is, unless you go through a suffering, right? So there are 2 aspects of forgiveness. One is suffering and second is sensitivity, right? Unless you go through a suffering, you generally do not build in the sensitivity, right? For example, if you do not know how it is to be hungry, right? Unless you go to a Pandava Nirjala, when you meet a beggar on the street, you won't understand. Why is he begging, Baba? Why are you, please, why are you doing that? Because he's hungry, So unless you've gone through a Pandava Nirjala, which is coming now, 21st June, we can be prepared. So in the evening, 7 o'clock, you are feeling, Bhim ko koi aur kaam nahi milega yaar, humko ye kyun itna dard dene ka chahta tha? You could have done all 24 Ekadashis, na? Why to trouble us? Unless you do that, you will not understand what the beggar feels like. Like there's one short story on this. So one guru actually was training a prince of a kingdom. So he was 12 years old, and by the time he trained him nicely, he was about 15, 16 years old. And then he went to the kingdom, to the king, and said, your son is trained now, he can become the next king. And he left. So the king was very happy. He is now trained in martial arts and everything, politics and everything. So he, the king, started looking at how this prince is growing, and after a couple of years, he said he's going to be the next king, Prince Regent jo bolte na. And he kept the Rajabhishek ceremony. So he obviously called the guru who had trained him, and everything was ready. He was supposed to be put the crown and Abhishek vagara ho raha tha. Everything was ready. At that time, this guru took a stick and started beating the prince. तो सब लोग आश्चर्य के साथ देख रहे हैं, दिस इसका सेरेमनी है, इमेजिन आपके इनिशिएशन सेरेमनी और आपको एक कांटे से कोई मार रहा है, आप लोग क्या चल रहा है, व्हाट इज दिस? So he was actually going through Rajyabhishek and he was, beating him. And the beating happened and the prince also didn't understand. He was my guru. How can I, how can I retaliate? So he also stood just like that. He just tolerated. And the king looked at the guru and said, hey, why are you beating my son, Baba? What is wrong with him? And he said, this was the last lesson I wanted to teach him. Now he's ready to become the king. He said, what do you mean? He said, now he's got the beating. And as a prince, he would never have got a beating. So now he knows how it feels when it is painful. Because he's the one who is going to give punishment to others. So he'll think twice before giving any punishment. So like that, suffering and sensitivity are connected. So if you want to forgive others, you need to know what they're going through. Then only you can forgive. Otherwise, it's very difficult to forgive people, right? Like that. So now the qualities of Draupadi are mentioned in Shloka number 49. The statement she made were according to the principles of religion. She justified. It was justified. It was glorious. It was merciful, equality, and without duplicity. These are 6-7 qualities which Krishna is bringing in terms of the qualities of Draupadi. Right. So that's one aspect which I wanted to cover. Now, what happens is, one side, Draupadi, Yudhishthir, Nakul, Sahdev are saying ki mat maro isko, chhod do isko, leave him alone. Other side, what is happening? Who is the one who is opposing? But then Bhima is saying, no. I want him to be killed right now. No? And Krishna is also supporting him. Krishna says, I want, that this person be killed. Yeah, Aditya, you wanted to say something?
Actually, as you were telling that
Yes,
we have to first experience, but like we hear from Shastras, the best way is to hear.
Yeah.
So then how will you say in that list?
But there are 4 kinds of people, right? So not everybody is in the first category. Just by hearing, you understand. Do you understand? Do all of us understand that we are soul, we are Atma, and we are not body, but just by hearing? Somebody can understand just by hearing. Somebody can understand by experience. Somebody cannot understand even by experience. There are different kinds of people. So this is more about the emotional part. This is more about understanding what somebody goes through. For example, even in the Muslims, when they do the Ramzan Eid, one of the reasons they do is to understand the pain of others. Right? So what the point is brought out is, even if you hear, for example, I'll give a very not so very good example, but let's try to understand. Now, a lady wants to become a mother, right? But she is not able to because of whatever reasons. Now, if I tell you this point, you as boys, you will be able to understand the pain of the mother is going.
No.
So we will not be able to understand. So although we might have some empathy, but the person who is going through suffering, you will not have so much sensitivity. But a same problem statement given to another lady, she will immediately understand. I know what it looks like. I know what it feels like, right? So that experience, she will be able to empathize more. We will be able to empathize. And it's very not very good, right? There could be some preachers who would say, hey, this is good now. If you're not having children, you can preach 24/7. You'll have no responsibility. ऐसे भी लोग होते हैं, right? So people will actually bring out philosophy there, right? Which is actually a good thing. But if you put yourself in the shoes of the person, you will feel what the pain the person is going through. The point here is, Draupadi was able to understand the sensitivity of the situation because she went through the pain, right? So that person actually can empathize more than a person who's not felt the pain. That's the point. Although we should be hearing and we should be, empathizing, but actually, practically, वैसे होता है क्या? It will only happen when we go through the pain. That's the point. Is it okay, Sushmit?
Yes, Pradeep. Thank you very much.
Now, what is happening is, one side is Bhima, one side is Krishna, other side is everybody else. Draupadi, Yudhishthir, and everybody else. And now Arjuna is to solve the problem. Krishna is saying, you have to solve the problem now. There is a conflicting situation, there is a contradictory situation. And it's not that, he can just go with Draupadi and then make Bhima and Krishna, morose. Or Bhima and Krishna will think, hey, yaar, mera sona hi nahi hai. It's not like that. It's a situation where 2 family members are standing opposite to each other and he has to solve the problem, right? It's a tough job, right? It's a basically harmonizing quarrels and dissensions in a family. That's the point he's trying to bring up. This is actually called as Dharma Sankat. So Arjuna is in a dharma sankat. What to do now, right? And Krishna is testing him. Krishna wants to test him, right? So many times we also go through dharma sankat. Can you give some examples from Shastras, not your personal life? We'll come to your personal life, but from Shastras where people or devotees have been put into dharma sankat and they have successfully passed it. Yes, Varun Prabhu. Is that Varun Prabhu? Yes.
Project Amrish Maharaj.
Ambrish Maharaj, what is the situation?
That how means
Yes.
how we have to break the means fast, but how to break it.
Yes. Very good. Thank you. Then Abhishek Prabhu has raised his hand. Abhishek Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji, the example of Bali Maharaj when
Yes, very good.
Yes.
Bali Maharaj. Yeah, good. Thank you. Third, anybody else? Yashwant Prabhu has raised his hand.
Project Krishna, like Arjun in the battlefield, like in front of him, the relatives.
Yes, before the war. Yes, very good. Yes, yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, although Vitrasura did not take it as a dharma sankat, but getting almost a pure devotee getting a body of a demon,
Yeah,
that can.
very good point. I mean, you might get a body of a demon and you're a devotee and you're asked, ki jaake, you go and kill people in GG device. Ye kya hai? Ye kaun sa dharma sankat hai bhai? I have been, grown up in GG device and I have become a devotee there and I have to go and kill devotees. What is this? It's like that. Yeah, very good point. Anybody else?
Dashrath Maharaj.
Dashrath Maharaj, when?
When he has given that vow.
Very good.
Kaikai.
Yes. So he had a vow to Kaikai. Whatever you ask, I am going to give the boon. So now he has to, stick to the boon. Now he is in dharma sankat. Should I, go through the pain of separating from my son, or should I just tell Kaikai, nahi, wo to main aise mazak mein bol diya tha. That's the dharma sankat he's going through, right? So it's going to, it's going to compromise his reputation, right? Any other?
Vasudev, they keep promising Kamsa that they will give their sons to Kamsa as soon as they are born.
Yes, very good. Yeah. Any other?
Vibhishan,
When
like he had a choice whether to continue with Ravan or leave.
that was not really dharma sankat because he had made his choice. Usko bola ki this is a blessing in disguise. It's good that Ravana is actually chastising me. It's better that I go there. Right, like that. You could say, Sugriv was in a dharma sankat in the case of Vibhishan. Because Sugriv was thinking, ki, Arey, ye kaun hai bhai? Should I get him in our side or not? He was going through that. Yeah. Any other?
When this Ramji, he was talking with this Yamraj, I think Yamraj, then Lakshman enters and he was told not to enter. If anyone enters, he will be killed. Then his own brother he has to banish from the kingdom instead of killing him. That was a big thing.
Yes, very good. Any other?
Prabhuji, will example of Prithvi Maharaj will come in this case?
Can you expand that a little bit?
Means I was also doubtful whether example will come. Means like performing 100 sacrifice that time. Means
yes. So now we are actually talking about different kinds of dharma sankars. So some of the dharma sankars which you mentioned, for example, what Bhimaraj Prabhu mentioned, and I'll take another example which is connected, where Ram had to banish Sita because somebody washerman told that he's not been chased. So that is the dharma sankat between two duties, Raja Dharma and Pati Dharma. Correct? Like that. Now, can you tell me examples of situations where somebody had to go through a dharma sankat of Varnashram versus Bhagavad Dharma? You know what is Bhagavad Dharma? Whatever we are doing is Bhagavad Dharma, Bhakti. Varnashram is your duty. Right? So somebody had to go through the dharma sankat of choosing between Varnashram or Bhagavad Dharma. You getting the point? Yes, Shubhankar Prabhu. Shubh Prabhu, sorry.
Gopis.
Very good. Gopis had to decide ki should I stay in home and perform a duty or should I go to the jungle to meet Krishna? That is, Varnashram versus Bhagavad. And which one do you choose? Bhagavad Dharma. Yeah. What else?
Can you say about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Because he has, from his side he was clear, but from society side.
No, but
he
he
was
never went to a dharma sankat नहीं था, ऐसा नहीं सोच नहीं रहे थे कि क्या should I take something?
from his side it was like that, but if other person, if he sees that he was
so you could say, if you want to become a brahmachari, right, then you will go through this dharma sankat, right? Like that. If you want to become a brahmachari, you have to give क्या करूँ मैं, family का देखूँ कि क्या करूँ. I mean, I know a devotee now. I mean, although we are not talking about personal example, but this is a very good example. A devotee who is a brahmachari in the ashram now, right? He traveled to his hometown just 2 months back, and he was going to tell his parents that I am actually going to join an ashram. Till that point of time, their parents did not know. He was going to tell the family, mother and father. He was the only son, no sister, no brother. He was about to go and tell that I am going to join the ashram. ये job अब मैं नहीं करने वाला हूँ, शादी वादी नहीं करने वाला. But what happened was his father died because of corona. He left his body because of corona. After a couple of days, when he went. Now he is in a big dharma sankat. Mother is alone, right? Mother is somewhere in Gujarat, and he is supposed to come in Pune. He's in a big dharma sankat. What should I do? Varnashram or Bhagavad? What am I supposed to do? Like that. Yeah. Any other? Some hands I saw at the back.
Guruji, Prabhupada, he was just thinking of whether should his Guru Maharaj was coming in his dream, but he was not able to leave the family business and wife and children.
Yes, that's also, very good. Anything else? I think Varun or Prabhu was also trying to raise your hand.
Prabhu, same example.
Same. Great devotees think alike. Right. So that is Varnashram versus Bhagavad. Another example is Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj was performing bhakti. Hiranyakashipu was saying, hey, what did you learn in the school? Now Prahlad Maharaj could have told, I learned psychology, I learned politics. But he was in a dharma sankat. Which one should I follow? Should I follow Narad Muni or should I follow, like that? Now, there could be situations where you are in two Bhagavad dharmas. Either this or that. You are in a situation where both are Bhagavad dharmas, but you have to choose one of them. Can you give me some examples? Give me historic examples, not your own examples. प्रभु जी मुझे बोला था preaching करने जाओ, but मुझे बर्तन मांजना बहुत अच्छा लगता है. What should I do? Not like that, but give me Mohan Chaka Prabhu has his hand out.
I don't know, but Prithu Maharaj can be example because he was doing welfare, actually, kind of welfare to his praja, and at the same time Brahmaji told to stop the.
Yeah, you could consider, because the duty, Varnashram duty itself was aligned to the spiritual activity. You could consider that. Yeah. Any other?
Ruji, can you consider the Shyamananda Pandit, when Hriday Chaitanya, he was Hriday Chaitanya, Shyamananda Pandit's Guru, he was told by Radharani not to tell anyone that the symbol is of her ankle bell, and his Guru was telling, how can you change your what to say?
You could consider. He have to make a decision that what am I supposed to do? But yeah, you could consider that.
He was not able to tell whether to tell or obey Radharani or Guru.
Yes. That's also good. Yeah, very good.
Swayambhu Manu, Brahmaji told him to marry. When Priyavarat Maharaj, sorry.
Very good. Who is that? I cannot see this dude. Very good. Yeah, thank you. Very good. So, very good example here, because both are about one side Narad Muni is saying कि तुम शादी मत करो, कुछ नहीं रखा शादी में, and Swayambhu Muni is saying no, we want a king. The whole world is, Uttanpad is no more, and he is not ruling the kingdom. So you have to rule the kingdom. So he is thinking, क्या करूँ मैं? So you might be thinking, how can ruling the kingdom be Bhagavad Dharma? Because it's a spiritual activity which he is thinking. It could be a Raj Dharma as well Bhagavad Dharma, but in this case it's Bhagavad Dharma because it's told by devotee. Swayambhu Muni is also devotee, right? And he's supposed to do a devotional activity like that. Yeah. Any other examples?
This Jai Vijay and Chatush Kumar episode, both were correct from their perspective. They are doing their duty. I mean, Chatush Kumar wanted to meet Lord, and Jai Vijay were doorkeepers.
Who's put in a dharma sankat? Who has to make a decision?
In that case, Bhagwan Vishnu was only in dharma sankat, what to, because they cursed him, Jai Vijay, and then Lord Vishnu gave them option whether 3 life of Demon or 4
Yes.
life of something like that.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So it is an impulsive decision they took as Jai Vijay. And 4 Kumara also were, they were later in Dharma Sankat, because then Vishnu started saying, it is my mistake, I will take whatever punishment you want. So the 4 Kumaras were in kind of in one, Dharma Sankat. Are Baba, Vishnu is asking forgiveness and we already cursed. Kya kar sakte hain? Yeah. Any other examples?
Prabhuji, can Bharat Maharaj be an example of that?
Bharat Maharaj, can you narrate the story?
Sri Ramchandra was exiled, and Bharat Maharaj was told to become a king.
Yes. He didn't want to become the king because Ayodhya mein everybody was throwing stones at him, and Ramchandra said, "You become the king." So both instructions. So this is actually, you could say, Raj Dharma versus the instructions given by Bharat, like that. Right? So you got that idea now, right? So this is called Dharma Sankat. So similarly, we can also be put into Dharma Sankat sometimes. Right? For example, your counselor tells you something, and another brahmachari who is a senior in the temple, he tells you something. You could get into Dharma Sankat. Right? So how to resolve that? That's the trick. Right? That is the harmonizing between the two. So you have to be very transparent and honest. Prabhuji, मुझे करना है, but ये authority से मुझे ऐसे आया है. So what should I do? You only tell me. Like that. So like there could be situations where some of your non-devotee friends invite you for prasadam. Let's say Mohan Saka Prabhu is there at his home, and his friends in his in his city, they invite him. Chal yaar, kya bahut dinon se pav bhaji nahi khaya. As long as it's vegetarian, it's good enough. But if it's non-vegetarian, all the more difficult, right? What should we do? It's a dharma sankat, and you do not want to break the heart of the friend, right? You do not want to hurt him. So you are in a dharma sankat, right? Like every year, now for the last 2 years, I'm not doing. But every year, my friends in the college call me. Hey, chalna, Anand, jaake baithte hain aaram se. So I know what is meant by jaake baithte hain aaram se, right? All over, all night activity, all night satsang chalta hai udhar, right? So what do? I am in dharma sankat because it's very difficult to say no. So every time I find a new reason. The first time I told my nephews got hospitalized. The second time I told I have got some office job. If I tell them, ISKCON ka program hai, so that's why you are always put into Dharma Sankat by life. Many times, now some of you who are going to get married, and I ask this question always because I just wonder if, devotees keep changing their minds. But then, when you get married, you also are put into Dharma Sankat. Like a brahmachari or a preacher could tell you to do some seva, and your wife is saying, nahi, kahin ghumne chalte hain. So what are you supposed to do? You are in Dharma Sankat, and that's the biggest Dharma Sankat. Maybe for Arjuna it was very easy, but in this case it is going to be very difficult for you to take a decision. Home ministry ka nahi sunoge to problem ho jayega. Preacher ka nahi sunoge to phir problem ho jayega. What do you do? So it's big Dharma Sankat we all have to go through, right? Dharma, actually the definition of Dharma is something which will benefit all. Now in Arjun's case, what did he do? He actually did such a amazing harmonization that everybody was happy, right? So Dharma is something which will benefit all for the largest number of people for all times to come. That is Dharma, right? And that is most needed at that time. At that time, it was not needed that Arjun do a justice to both of them. That's why he did whatever he did. That is called as Dharma, right? Now Arjuna was thinking, Brahmana cannot be killed, but at the same time, he's an aggressor. How can I kill him, right? And at the time, he's also thinking, but the aggressor is without a weapon. How can I kill him, right? So it's a complicated situation Arjuna is going through, but he did it. A nice justice to it, right? And also different varnas have to be given different punishments. Not that everybody can be given the same punishment. One time Bhishma called Duryodhan and Yudhishthir Maharaj. And there were 4 people who had killed another person. So Bhishma asked Duryodhan, what is your justice? Duryodhan bola ki sabko hang kar do. Question hi nahi hai, sabko hang kar do. Right? He is like Hitlership also. So then the same question was asked to Yudhishthir Maharaj. So first Yudhishthir Maharaj asked a question to all 4 of them. Can you tell me your varnas? They said, मैं एक ब्राह्मण हूँ, एक क्षत्रिय, एक वैश्य, एक शूद्र. So he said 32 years for Brahmana, 16 years for Kshatriya, 8 years for Vaishya, and 2 years for Shudra. ऐसा अलग-अलग दिया उसको. So somebody asked, Bhishma asked, why are you doing different? They did the same crime? No, because they are at different levels in the society. Their responsibility is different. If there is a leader in the society let's say a minister, and he commits some crimes, it's a bigger crime because he's a leader in the society. He is going to actually set an example. So it's written in the Shastras, if a Brahmana is killed by a government representative without actually doing proper justice, he goes to a hell called as Shukarmukha. Shukarmukha karke hell hai, usme jana padta hai usko. Like that, right? So that's the point. Now let's talk about the punishment given. So there are 3 different categories in which one can give punishment. One could be excessive punishment. Second could be misplaced compassion, which is less punishment. And the third could be harmonized punishment. Right? Arjuna gave a harmonized punishment, balanced punishment. We'll come to that. But what are some examples? Can you give me some examples where excessive punishment was given by somebody? From Shastras. Apne example mat do. Yes, Shubha Bro.
About Dhruv Maharaj was killing Yakshas.
Fantastic. Very nice example. Dhruv Maharaj killing Yaksha. It is as though Shubha Prabhu knows my notes, because this is my first notes, example in my notes. Right? Dhruv Maharaj, only one Yaksha killed his brother Jattama. Why was it necessary to kill all the Yaksha? It's an excessive punishment. Although he is a devotee, it's an example of excessive punishment. Any other examples?
This Krishna said Arjuna that means this Duryodhana or this Kaurava should be killed. So this is an excessive punishment.
Sorry, what was that?
Means Lord Krishna wanted that this Pandavas should kill this Kaurava party because it is an example of excessive punishment because they are killed.
Why? But they are aggressors, no? They are all 6 kinds of aggressors. Whatever 6 kind of aggressors are, they are filling the criteria. So they are somebody's wife is kidnapped or not kidnapped. Somebody's wife is disrobed. You're taken. Your entire wealth is taken. You are tried to be killed. Kauravas tried to kill Pandavas. So is that excessive? No, it is. In fact, it's balanced. It is actually justified. Right? That's not excessive. Okay, Abhishek Prabhu got his hand up.
Prabhuji, this example of Chota Haridas, that to set the right example, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bereft him from the association.
Actually, that falls in the category of balanced punishment. Because Chota Haridas was in a sannyasa order, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to set the right example for everybody. Right? So you are right, but it falls in the balanced category because he wanted to show an example for everybody. He was very strict. He wouldn't even hear the voice of a woman. Once he was running towards Jaydev Prabhu's, what is that song? Or somebody was singing. And Govinda had to actually catch him. Mahaprabhu, kahan bhag rahe ho? Kahan bhag rahe ho? But itna sundar ga raha hai. Mahaprabhu, that's a lady. Oh, it's a lady. He was so careful about not falling to the stick. So that's why he had to do that. Right? Yes, Yashwant Prabhu has got his hand up.
Prabhuji, Shringi cursing Parishit Maharaj to be killed. To be like that against him.
Yes, that's correct. Shringi, yes. Yeah, anybody else?
Yeah, Indra killing Vishwarup, cutting the head.
Yes, excessive punishment. थोड़ा बहुत इधर उधर दिया तो क्या फर्क पड़ता है? Why are you killing him? Yes, what else? There are so many.
Getting that demon body.
So you are saying Parvati gave excessive punishment?
Parvati, yeah.
Yeah, that you could consider that, but actually Parvati gave more of a motherly affection. For example, a child is behaving naughtily, you give him punishment so that he, becomes good. That kind. So you could consider that, but not really excessive. Slightly excessive. Yes, Shubha.
Janmajaya killing all the snakes.
Who was this? Sushmit Prabhu.
Yes.
Yeah, very good example, because this is the second example in my book. Not a book. Yeah, very good example. Janmajaya killing all the snakes just because Parikshit Maharaj was killed. Right? Like that. Yeah, very good.
About that Durvasa Muni.
Yes. Durvasa Muni is trying to kill Amrish Maharaj. Excessive punishment. Actually, there was no fault at all. Punishment tiny, but yeah. Yes.
Daksha's banishing Lord Shiva.
Not exactly banishing, but yeah, he was chastising Lord Shiva. Yes. Correct. Yes. Any other? Then there is Jamadagni killing Renuka. Jamadagni was the father of Parshuram. Just because Renuka's thought process was not good at a particular instance, he asked Parshuram to kill Renuka. That was excessive punishment, and he had to bear the results of it. Later, Kartavya Arjuna actually had him killed. Right? That is another example. Then I don't know if you know this example. Vashishta Muni, banishing Prashrabda. Right? There was a king named Prashrabda. He was one of the sons of the king, and he was asked to protect the cows. One night, there was so dark pitch night that he couldn't see, and a lion came to kill the cow. And he understood there was a lion, but he couldn't see, and it was windy day. Otherwise, you'll ask, lamp क्यों नहीं लगाया, torch क्यों नहीं लगाया, mobile का flashlight क्यों नहीं लगाया, like that. But it was dark pitch, and the lamp also, was extinguished. So he lifted a sword and he went to kill the lion, but by mistake the cow was killed. So Vasishtha Muni said, "You are a Shudra. You cannot even protect a cow. You go and remain in the forest." That was excessive punishment. Okay, now give me examples of misplaced compassion, which means basically punishment dena chahiye tha but nahi diya, or you could consider that galat jagah compassion dal diya. So it's not exactly punishment, but your compassion is in the wrong place. Yes,
Maharaj. Bharat Maharaj.
Yes, Bharat Maharaj. Yes, very good. What else? जहां misplaced compassion है, भरत महाराज का एग्जांपल इमीडिएट आता है. Yes.
Prabhuji, Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana, I don't know, like Dhritarashtra was like compassionate to him as a son.
Yes, eternal misplaced compassion. That's an example of embodiment of eternal this thing, misplaced compassion. Yes, Dhritarashtra versus Duryodhana. What else?
Ashwadhama's father.
Dronacharya.
Means he should have punished or chastised, but then
yes. What else?
Bharat Maharaj.
Huh?
Mother of Kaikeyi.
Mother of Kaikeyi.
No. Mother of Bharat Maharaj.
Acha, Kaikeyi's compassion towards Bharat Maharaj. Yeah, that's also an example. Then there is Saubhari Muni and the fishes. Right? He went to the lake to actually perform austerity. और उधर जाके मछलियों के साथ दोस्ती कर ली. That's a misplaced compassion. Right? And Shukracharya not correcting Devyani. You know the story, right? Basically Devyani and Sarmishta. So Devyani went and said कि मुझे शादी करनी है ययाति से. So Shukracharya should have told, "Arey, he is a Kshatriya, you are a Brahmani. You are a Brahmani, and he is a Kshatriya. Why are you doing Anulom marriage or Vilom marriage, whatever it is?" Then she, नहीं, मुझे उसी से शादी करनी है. So he had to change the rules. Shukracharya. That's misplaced compassion. And also cursing Yayati later. That's also misplaced compassion. Then, yes, Varun Prabhu. Uttanpad? Uttanpad. Yes.
Prabhuji, Karna and Duryodhana, while Draupadi was being disturbed, he could said.
वो तो excessive punishment था, compassion नहीं था. And it is, compassion कहाँ था उसमें? It is actually a punishment they are trying to give to Draupadi because she insulted Duryodhana. It's excessive punishment. Is that correct, or what do you think?
Yes.
Right. Any other example? Then there is Vishwamitra and Trishanku. Trishanku आया बोला कि वशिष्ठ मुनि नहीं कर पा रहे, आप कर पाओगे क्या? बोला हाँ, वशिष्ठ मुनि नहीं कर तो मैं करूँगा. I will get some brownie points. So he sent him to heavens. Misplaced compassion. Why misplaced compassion? Can somebody tell me?
Because he was not eligible to go to heaven.
There is some rules for heaven, Baba. How can you, because you just have some mystic power, you cannot, send him like that. Then Bhishma's compassion for Kauravas. Now you might say, "Nahi, Prabhuji, wo to devotee the, he knew the heart of Krishna." Yes, but if you look at it from another angle, what you can learn is he had misplaced compassion for Kauravas, especially during the disrobing of Draupadi. He could have, chastised Dhritarashtra. अबे अंधे, तेरे को समझ में नहीं आता क्या कर रहा है तू? He could have said that, right? No? Yeah. Just because you cannot see, you cannot, do this. ऐसा बोल सकते हो, right? Now give me examples of where punishment or compassion was balanced. बराबर से था, perfect था. So current example is there, Arjuna versus Ashwatthama. So don't give that example. That is there. That is the balanced example. कि अर्जुन न्यू कि क्या करना है इस केस में. Shishupal.
Because Krishna, he promised his mother that for 100 times he will tolerate the insult. That he tolerated, and for 100, not one he killed. So that was very balanced.
Yeah, very good example. Basically, he showed compassion till the point of, बोलता ना कि पाप का घड़ा भर नहीं आता तब तक. After that, he killed him. Yes, very good. What else?
King Vena, he killed by Brahmanas.
No, they made him the king and they were waiting कि इसका बाप का घड़ा भर जाए, and then they killed. Very good. What else? Kashyap Muni and Diti. I'll give the names. You have to tell me what exactly. Kashyap Muni and Diti. What is balanced compassion
here? She was asking for a child, but then Kashyap Muni said that you have to do some austerity before you getting a child. So that was purifying her. So that was like she was showing compassion, but he gave some kind of punishment also, kind of austerity to her.
You are actually very close, Bimraj, but you did not hit the nail. You are very, very close. The last sentence didn't make sense.
She wanted a child to kill Indra. But
So
he told her that you perform this austerity before begetting a child.
the story part, you are correct. The conclusion in this context. What is the conclusion in this context? Can somebody else tell? The conclusion in this context is that Kashyap Muni repented. I should not give should not have accepted a proposal. Correct. But now he wanted to correct it. उसको balance करना चाहते थे. So what did he do? He didn't say कि नहीं ठीक है हम लोग we'll enjoy and we'll have that. He said you do Pumsavana Vrata because he knew Pumsavana Vrata करने से इसका mind change हो जाएगा. She will get transformed. That is called balance. है ना? Otherwise अभी बोल दशरथ महाराज ऐसा नहीं है ना कि अरे अब तो मैंने वाव दे दिया अब क्या करूं मैं रोते बैठ रहा हूं. No, he balanced it very nice like that. Yeah. Any other examples?
Prajit, Narad Muni giving curse to Nalkoer and Manigram.
Perfect. Very nice. Perfect.
And also Ahilya curse to Ahilya where she becomes stone and then get delivered by Lord Ram.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's balanced. It could fall under excessive also. It was not only her mistake. And he gave punishment to both. Indra ko bhi de diya aur Ahilya ko bhi de diya. So I don't know and where it falls. It may not be balanced because it was a curse from Gautam Muni. Yeah. Any other example?
Puji, that crocodile which comes in Gajendra Lila. He was pulling leg of some rishis and then they cursed him to become crocodile.
Yes. That's balanced. They actually wanted him to, so similar. Yeah, very good. Then there is, Krishna's dealing of Putana. Putana actually came as to kill him, but he balanced it properly. He gave the, Dhatri's place. Or Krishna is chastising Kaliya. He already chastised, he made him suffer, but he gave the boon of, having his footprints on his head. That's called balanced. Then there is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Haridas Thakur, we talked about it, Chota Haridas Thakur. Then there is Pruthu Maharaj and Mother Earth. Mother Earth did not want to, give any grains or produce anything. But Pruthu Maharaj chastised her and made her. Excessive punishment nahi tha, proper punishment. And then last is Parikshit Maharaj and Kali. So Kali, Parikshit Maharaj could have killed him, but he begged forgiveness, so he balanced it properly. So that is how you balance it. So from this, what we can learn is, there are 5 topics I brought out. One is Draupadi's qualities. Second is, even in Draupadi's qualities, Prabhupada gives a very good lesson that we have to have our discriminatory power. For example, a devotee comes in your community and, he's got some tendencies which is not good for bhakti. For example, paise chorata hai, cheating karta hai. There are some devotees like that, right? One devotee was found who told somebody that 2 years back, I'll take you to Yatra. I'll book all the tickets. Tickets book kar le, paise leke bhag gaya. So basically, you have to have a discriminatory powers. At the same time, you should not criticize those devotees, but you have to learn that it has to be balanced. That's the second point. Third point we brought about was Dharma Sankat with respect to different angles. Raja Dharma, Varnashram Dharma, Bhagavad Dharma. 2 Bhagavad Dharmas. Another example which I forgot to mention was Yashoda Maiya. Yashoda was feeding Krishna, service कर रही Krishna को, and उधर दूध उबल रहा है. वो भी कृष्ण का ही है, वो भी कृष्ण के लिए रखा था. So what should I do? She was in a Dharma Sankat, right, like that. So we talked about Dharma Sankat. Then we talked about punishments, various kinds of punishments, 3 kinds of punishments. Excessive punishments, then there is balanced punishments, and misplaced compassion. Right? So in our life, you have to be very careful of what we are doing. Because when you give excessive punishment, it is arisen because of what? What is the root cause of that? तो बता सकता है? Why would somebody give excessive punishment? उसका root cause क्या हो सकता है?
Envy or false ego.
False ego. What else? Yes, Shubha Bro.
Lust, probably lust.
Lust is the actual answer. Lust के कारण, because what is the shloka which talks about it? कामेश क्रोधेश रजोगुण समुद्भव महाशनो महापापमा विद्येरि मेरिना. Because of काम only you get krodha, and when you do excessive punishment, it is krodha only, like that. So the root cause is काम. Obviously the ultimate root cause is false ego कि मैं ये हूँ, but these are all 6 anarthas are connected in one sense. But काम is the, क्योंकि तुम्हारा काम satisfy नहीं हुआ, then you become angry and you give excessive punishment, like that. Okay, so these are very important lessons. So I forgot to mention this at the start of the class. I mean, most of this I've got it from Radhika Vallabh Prabhu's class, and some from Gantharaj and some from other lectures. So actually मेरा खुद का कुछ contribution नहीं है. Some of the examples I have brought it myself, but the core theme of these verses are coming from Radhika Vallabh. So I would like to give the credit to him. He is a brahmachari in Chopati Ashram. Very nice classes you give. If you get a chance, you can hear him. Classes. Very deep philosophical points he brings out from acharyas. So amazing classes you can hear. So whatever good you would have heard today, if you would have got anything, it's because of his credit. I have got no credit at all. If at all I have any credit, the only credit I can say is cracking some jokes in between. That's the only credit I can take. Otherwise, it's his credit. Okay. And whatever inabilities you would have found in the class, it's because of me. Because obviously I've got a lot of inabilities. So please forgive me for that. Any questions we can take?
For last point you were telling about balanced this punishment, can we consider that example of Prabhupada when some devotees, yesterday Amshubhur was sharing that some devotees were considering Prabhupada to be God and they were preaching. So instead of removing them from the movement, Prabhupada sent them to a part where there is no preaching happening, and they told that do not commit this mistake, but you be away from the society.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very balanced. Prabhupada took balance approach many times. He wanted that devotee stay, but at this time he didn't want to know that they do things which are not really good for them. There was one group. In fact, there was one time. This was, if you look at Prabhupada Lilambar, there's a section where it says that don't remember the exact heading, but it says that there was
threat to ISKCON.
Threat to ISKCON. Yeah, thank you very much. There was threat to ISKCON because at that time there was a group of devotees who used to call out Prabhupada's name and talk about many things which Prabhupada didn't really want to. So he had to actually do a lot of work to actually close that. Like one time he went to San Francisco Rath Yatra, and the Rath Yatra was going, and Prabhupada was made to sit in the Rath Yatra on the cart, and he wanted to join them in front, but said, "No, Prabhupada, you cannot come." And then he later chastised them. You are disobeying your orders of a spiritual master. What is this? Because they wanted to take the credit. They wanted to remain in the front, and Prabhupada just as Murti जैसा उनको खड़ा करना था. So they chastised. Prabhupada chastised them. ऐसा बहुत सारे incident हो गए. You can read that section. Very nice section. It gives a good lesson that what is our limit in terms of what we can do to our spiritual master, and you have to be very careful. Like that. Good point, Master. Yeah. Any other questions or points?
Roji, can we say that excessive punishment can be?
Yeah, sorry, bro. Yeah.
Roji, can we say that excessive punishment can be given to set an example?
Not really. Excessive punishment. If you take the example of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu giving it to Chota Haridas, you could say that. Because for somebody who might say, "Arey yaar, kya ek hi galti kar de, itna bada punishment." You could say that, but only if you have authority, right? For example, somebody does a mistake first time, then you cannot just kick him out of the ashram and say, "Nahi, I am giving you excessive punishment, taki it can set an example for others." No, not like that. You could, we have the authority, and we have to have the right judgment to do that. Otherwise, if you do not have the right judgment, you could think you are setting an example, but you are actually doing it because of your karma, lust. And so, you are right in one sense, but you have to have the authority and the, right judgment, philosophical judgment to do that, and the situation as well, like that. For example, you are starting a preaching activity, like many of you are involved in college preaching, right? Wisdom Aya preaching kar raha ho. and the boys are joining 15-20 minutes late, right? And then you are the mentor, and then every time you go and chastise him, hey, late क्यों आता है यार तू? Time पे आना चाहिए तुमने, right? So is it excessive punishment or you are balancing?
It is balancing.
Balancing? What do you think?
Not every time chastising is good. You should hear the other person as well.
First time, second time, you could, basically take it, very peacefully. If they continue doing that, you can chastise in a gentle manner, because we want them to come to the programs. अगर आप chastise even if they are coming late, ये India में late आते हैं ये लोग, right? But that doesn't mean you chastise him and throw him away from Krishna consciousness. Operation successful, patient dead. वैसा नहीं होना चाहिए. Okay, any other questions? Okay, so there are no more questions. We can close. Yeah, sorry I'm a bit late, but we started late. That's why I had exact 1 hour of topics, so I didn't want to, keep you half topics there. So like that. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki, Granth ki jai.
Jai.
Hari Bol. Namaskar.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you so much. Hari Bol. Namaskar.
Hare Krishna.